Well, it's Saturday, June 28th, and it just so happens to be one of my closest friends that I met here on Tiki-Taki's birthday. So I figured I'd take to the birthday book and we would have a look. Now, I'm going to read this day, and I want you to keep in mind not only is this my friend's birthday, who exhibits all of the positivity and the traits of the June 28th, but it just so happens to be Alonia Muskrat's birthday, too. So while you are listening to what I'm telling you in this book, I just want you to keep in mind how it might apply to the muskrat guy. Okay, and by the way, Miss June, happy birthday. June 28th, the day of the emotional stimulation. Those born on the 28th of June, hold on, I can't see this, baby. I can't see nothing without my glasses anymore. Those born on the 28th of June generally put their emotion before reason. Their approach to matters is direct and immediate. They make a most universal appeal to their co-workers, friends, or family, a large part of which is in the humor and cajoling they employ. Since humor is a superior way to reach people, they usually succeed in making an impression. June 28th people have a way of moving others to react emotionally and may in fact be deliberately provocative when trying to garner attention. The shock value they elicit is considerable, and those who know them sooner or later come to expect almost anything. Although they may appear highly spontaneous due to their antics, most of what they do is well thought out beforehand. Indeed, those born on this day are masters at anticipating the effect they will produce. Generally, the June 28th people eschew patience, subtle persuasion in favor of an all-out frontal attack. Yet they are so proficient at what they do and so masterful in their detailed planning that they rarely misjudge their audience or their target group. Those born on this day tend to be more extroverted than introverted, but nonetheless are deep, complex individuals who are not easily understood. Many June 28th people are leaders and movers in their family cycle or their social groups. As employees, they can tuck themselves away for a time in a quiet place and work unassumingly. But if they sense an opportunity to share a funny story or make an outrageous comment, they will tend to go for it. Logical thinking is not their forte. However, it is more often that their consistent work ethic or inspiration that makes them good employees. But for those born on this day, diligence at work does not necessarily mean order at home and personal areas of their life, whether their love life, housework, raising children, keeping appointments, etc., may be quite chaotic and even completely out of hand. Probably the worst punishment for the June 28th people is to go unappreciated or ignored. Some born on this day gradiate back and forth between an intense social need for interaction and appreciation on one hand, and an urge to be alone with their eccentricities on the other. Mates and children of such June 28th people must either have a great sense of humor and loads of tolerance, or perhaps just blind love in order to put up with them. Those born on the 28th often display a great objective interest in people. They are fascinated with human characteristics, particularly those of children. They may be taken by studies of behavior, history, language, or anthropology. In this respect, they can make excellent psychologists who offer insight into people's motivations, thoughts, and actions. In their inner circle, they are often consulted where a matter of human nature is concerned, but may not be taken seriously by everyone due to their habit of putting people on. Behind the jovial facade, however, the June 28th person is most often hypersensitive and serious. Those born on the 20th day of the month are ruled by the number 1 and by the sun. Those ruled by the number 1 are highly individual, of a definite viewpoint, and eager to rise to the top. Because the June 28th people are, as mentioned, strongly dominant types, they must be aware of being driven by their power urges or drowning out in a flood of emotions, which would be influenced by the moon, of course. The sun carries in its symbolism strong creative energy and fire, which should be kept flowing steadily rather than allowed to sporadically flare out of control. The first card of the major arcana is the magician, who symbolizes intellect, communication, information, as well as magic. Over his head is an infinity symbol, which in some tarot decks takes the form of a hat, and others a halo. Many interpretations may be drawn, one of which is that the magician recognizes the cyclical and unending nature of life and is empowered by this understanding. The positive traits by this card include diplomatic skills and shrewdness, but the negative aspects is a lack of scruples and opportunism. The choice rests with the June 28th people whether to use their charismatic qualities for a moral or an immoral end. The health. June 28th people truly like to eat and often suffer from problems with their weight. Their flamboyant nature can lead them to think of meals as events, focusing on the delight of the meal and the company rather than the nutritional content. This can create all sorts of digestive problems, including those of the stomach, liver, gallbladder, and intestine. Those born on this day have a higher than normal incidence of addiction and would be better off avoiding experiments with chemicals. Liver problems here tend to accompany excessive alcohol consumption. Regular physical exercise of a vigorous sort is recommended for the June 28th people, who too often only exercise in bed and then leave it at that. Naughty, naughty. Now here's a bit of advice. I hope Aloni is listening too. Being the center of attention is fun, but we all have to grow up sooner or later. Work on your destructive side. Find a way to hold your tongue when necessary, while maintaining your fine sense of humor. Here's a meditation for you. Turning one's back to another, whether among animals or humans, is the most direct way of expressing contempt. So basically, sometimes there are no words you can say. All you have to do is turn your back and walk away. Happy birthday, Miss June. And as far as Alonia Muskrat, I think we just clocked you. You dive way too deep into your emotional side, and your scruples have went away. But Miss June, I appreciate you. I know exactly how direct you are. And funny too, baby. Let me tell you. She cracks me up. Anyway, I'm going to try to come back with an extra cup of tea today. But I don't know if that's going to happen because my grandbaby's on the way. We will see. But either way, I do love you. And I hope y'all have a nice day.